It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. The Sports Hit List presents Smokin' Mirrors with Declan Krogman and the Polius Brothers, Greg and Stefan, breaking down the biggest news in sports, giving you the stories behind the story, here for all the smoke, all the time, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Good afternoon and welcome to Sports Hit List. Welcome to Smokin' Mirrors, presented by the Sports Hit List on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I'm your host, Stefan Polius, alongside my fellow hosts, Declan Krogman and Greg Polius. It's a great Monday. Feeling pretty good out. I'm feeling good. I had a great weekend. How about the two of you? Greg, how you doing?
He does it every time.
There we go.
He's become more consistent.
I had a good stretch for like 2-3 shows where I didn't do it.
I mean, that was 2-3 shows like 5 or 6 shows ago.
All I'm saying is I had a stretch. But anyway,
kind of like the A's.
I was saying, you know, it's crunch time in the semester, so my weekends are few and far between.
I hear that. That is. I don't miss those days. I'm going to say that right now. I don't miss them one bit. Deck, what about you? Finals for you as well on this one.
Yeah, well, getting there, I think, in a couple weeks. I had a fire weekend, even this morning, went out with some of the boys, hit the fields, got in some live BP, some work for the game against you guys on Wednesday.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Won't help you.
Oh, yeah.
So
well,
you didn't have to do it.
It's okay.
I mean, it's been in the group chat. For those that don't know, Declan is playing in the same baseball league as us. Greg and I are on the same team. Declan is going to be pitching for another team in that league, and Greg has been relentless.
Absolutely relentless.
Yeah. Well, it's the build-up is great because it's just going to look all the more funnier when he strikes out on 4 pitches. So I'm excited. He knows it. I called him yesterday to tell him that all right, fine. You want 3? You want 3? Would that make the smack talk more?
I mean, that's even if you get to that many pitches in an at-bat.
You think you're gonna ground that on pitch 2? Maybe.
I'm building Declan's character. He doesn't even realize.
He is. No, he is totally. You got to deal with like people that are talking trash. It's awesome. Like it pumps people up. I'll just
some people.
I won't.
Some people.
Yeah, exactly. I won't be like Mad Bum on the mound and like take all offense to it and start yelling at the dugout.
Whoa. Mad Bum had a great weekend. All right,
well, that's another happy segue into his great weekend. But Manny in the group, in the chat saying, the comment section saying, Greg is a player manager, thinks he's Jordan.
Wow. Jordan was absolutely a terrible manager until LaMelo Ball fell in his lap. So please do not compare me to that trash.
Yeah. Well, then, that's a good segue into what we're going to talk about, a little basketball. For our New York fans out there, no, Greg, you're not involved in this. If you want to mute it, you can. Don't want to listen. But the Knicks and the Nets are doing really well. I mean, the Knicks, I should say. So we talked about them on Friday. They had the 8-game winning streak, and it extended to 9 games. They won on Saturday. So the Knicks are doing well. They're going against the second-place Suns today to try and continue that streak, which is a good, test, a litmus test to see where they're at. But they have been performing very well as of late, and great way to end out April and to go into May, into postseason hot, because we all know that it's the hot hand that tends to win it. And if the Knicks can keep this momentum, it'd be huge for them. And then you have the Nets, who are now in first place in the Eastern Conference. And a lot of that is contributed to the 76ers dropping their 4 last games. But the Nets have been playing well. KD is back. For those Net fans, I know you were excited seeing that game last night. It was 28 minutes. He put up 33 points, 6 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block. It's a KD line without KD minutes.
the league's done good the past couple weeks. They got KD and AD back. So
yes,
top 2 powerhouses in both conferences got their stars back. Minus
exactly. We're still missing James Harden. To see exactly. Seeing the Nets performing the way they are with just KD and Kyrie. Kyrie's been holding it down for them, staying healthy of the big 3. But also, I think it was great to note of KD coming back from his injury, 57% from the field, efficient as hell. So
yeah,
it's great for New York sports. Everyone except Greg is happy about the Knicks. Memphis is doing well. Memphis is doing well. You know, Ja Morant is going off.
And I know since I traded.
And I believe that's all. Yeah, and I believe that's all the time we have allocated to the Memphis Grizzlies on this show today. So we're gonna have to move on.
Well, we're gonna stay on it just a bit. So for those that tuned in on Friday and heard my little rant about my fantasy basketball team, you know that I was I snuck into the quarterfinals, and the odds were stacked against me. You know, a perennial 7th to 8th place team in the regular season. I just want to update.
It's the third time we're hearing this speech and this little.
Don't you worry.
The odds are stacked against me. Now.
Happens. It's gonna keep happening as long as I keep winning.
We'll get a fault.
So Declan ruined the surprise, but I won the quarterfinals. It was a 6-2 finish. Shout outs to Ziggy. It was a great matchup, but stayed in the driver's seat the whole time. If you do care about all these updates, you're gonna get more. So week semifinals are starting today, and I'm feeling really good. Just like the Knicks and the Nets. My team, Basketball Jones, we're pretty hot. We went to this postseason hot, and we're going to stay hot. So you will definitely get an update on Friday to see how the matchup's going. But things are
sure we will
on this side. I'm straight you will.
Yeah. Can I mention
thank you for that. I needed to get
baseball for a sec. Just maybe about half a second.
Go.
Half a second. At first place in the Sports Headless Fantasy Baseball League, we have a tie between myself and Stefan at 12-9-1. I'm so upset. I was up on Chuck. What is he saying? Did he freeze up?
No, go ahead. I'll get at you when you finish.
I'm not getting at anybody. I didn't even think I was in first place after the disgrace of a week I had this week. I was up 9-1 on Chuck all week, and I wound up losing 6-5. As far as the Western Conference, if you would like to take a guess who's in first place, it's Brian Krogman. He's 17-5 so far. And shout out to Eddie Gonzalez. He's 15-5-2. Holding it down in the second place spot in the West. We got a long ways to go, but hey, fantasy baseball. What can I say? Full swing.
Nobody cares about who's in first place in the second week of fantasy baseball. Absolutely,
no one does.
Not even people in the league.
Well, no one does. Well, especially I wouldn't care either if I was 5-17 in the last seed of the Western Conference.
I mean, again, it's the second week. Yeah.
It is. No, of course. I was giving a little update. We haven't mentioned the fantasy baseball.
We have not yet. You're right.
So I thought it was a fair, little intro. I didn't even think I was in first place, to be honest, but I'm happy I am.
And you know what? Shouts out to you being in first place in the third week of fantasy baseball. I'm glad we got that update, and you will hear more about our fantasy league because I feel like maybe you want to hear about it. And
I'm a narcissist. Steph had a little bit too much of his fantasy shine. I had to kind of. Bring it to baseball, get a little shine.
Fine. It's a good segue because we're going to start talking baseball. We have our baseball.
Yeah, man, there we go. We got to find somewhere.
I do want to. So I want to start by shouting out Michael Kopeck. We covered a few weeks ago, or I should say a week ago. We covered Brett Honeywell Jr. And how he came back from a major injury and pitched in his first game. Beautiful inning. Michael Kopeck, who had Tommy John surgery back in 2018, actually September 5th, 2018 was the last time he pitched in the majors. He had Tommy John surgery, was out 2019, sat out 2020. This season has started as a reliever, but if you are familiar with that name, former prospect, he was he was always projected as a starting pitcher. He's gotten 2 starts after 4 relief appearances. The last start coming this weekend, went 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, and 10 Ks.
Good for him.
I think he was in the high 90s in the average for his fastball.
Yeah.
I watched the highlights. Dominant. He was nailing the inside-outside corner. Honestly, was very Jacob Degrom-esque as far as the location of the fastball and how he was utilizing the fastball up in the zone and down in the zone. So just wanted to shout him out. It's good to see. It's good for baseball, and it's just good for Chicago because that's a team that.
No, go ahead, Steph.
I was going to say that Chicago's a team that everyone expected to do really well this season, going into the season, and they came out the door gate a little, staggering a little bit, but getting that momentum and getting the wins that they deserve in the league.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty ironic you say the DeGrom comparison because I believe when he was in the Red Sox farm system, he was very upset because Noah Syndergaard, because they both have. I think Kopeck cut his hair now, but they both had long blonde hair, and he wanted the nickname Thorn. He didn't get it. But now, if he's looking like a different Mets pitcher, maybe he's better off. He's a highly covered guy.
Yes.
When he came up, he was going out with Brielle Bierman, the
I do
daughter
remember
of
that. Yeah.
Kim Zolciak from Real Housewives of Atlanta, and Croy Bierman. So now he's done, and I think he was going out with like a Riverdale star, married, had a kid, and now divorced. I don't even know what that was. I'm not sure.
I will cede all of that gossipy stuff to you because I do not know what his life is like off the field.
Dude, this dude, since he's been on the field, he's had a lot of changes. Cut his hair, new girl, new child, divorce. Right. I mean, this guy's been busy off the field, on and off the field for sure. Right. And now he's back in his domain.
Back in the
which is good to see.
Which it is good to see. So shouts out again to Michael Kopeck and how he's hopefully going to stay in the rotation. We'll see. But moving on to what I think we all want to talk about, which is the Padres and the Dodgers. If you watch that series, then congratulations. You're looking at and seeing playoff-like baseball.
You had a great weekend.
April. It's spectacular to watch. You had 4 competitive games. The Padres ended up taking the series 3-4, but they were mostly close.
You mean 3-1?
3-1. I'm sorry. Why 3-4? Look at me. 3 out of 4 games.
3 out of 4. So
3 out of 4 games is what I meant. Yeah, it's okay. Greg didn't want to talk for the last 5 minutes, but he wanted to add that bit.
That's what he wanted to. He wanted to jump in. And
he's going to jump in that point
all over him. Yes.
But yes, it was a great series. Greg, since you've been quiet and you want to talk now, what do you think of the series? How are you feeling watching that? Was it everything you wanted it to be and more? Are you a Padres or Dodgers? I don't know which way you.
I'm on the Padres side.
Okay.
So it is currently the best rivalry in sports, and that's across all major sports. And if you watch the back and forth with Bauer and Tatis, the energy in that series, Mookie making a catch. Mookie making that catch and banging his chest, like you could see the enthusiasm and the emotion that these players are pouring into this series, and I think it's great for the game of baseball. Tatis remembering what Bauer did in spring training and doing it back to him not once but twice. Like this is what baseball needs.
I thought Trevor Bauer handled himself really well in the post game too. Like he's a guy that rubs a lot of people the wrong way. And I thought he said, listen, if I'm going to get upset about that, then maybe I'm soft. I got to dish out. He's got to take in what he can dish out.
Definitely. I think what you're referring to is the Colin McGregor swagger walk, that one. Is that what you're saying with Tatis?
No. He was given when he pitched with one eye.
I got you.
Yeah. When in spring training, Bauer covered his eye and threw pitches with one eye for an inning. And then Tatis took him deep twice, and as he rounded the bases, he covered his eye, which I thought was great.
It is great, but what's interesting about that Tatis home run, if you haven't heard, is now a peak. I'm going to call it peak gate. I don't know if people are calling it peak gate, but I think peak gate works. But Tatis during that at bat apparently looked down, and it doesn't seem like he got the pitch, but definitely got the location of where the pitch was going before the pitch comes. So he ends up hitting a slider, which is off the plate yard. He takes
out of the strike zone.
Yeah, it was way out the strike zone. It's about 3-4 inches out the strike zone, and he took a yard. And so I think during Tatis rounding the bases, Bauer was like, you know what, I missed. I didn't miss, but he got me. I threw the pitch where I wanted to, but he got me. And then after looking at the tape, finding out that Tatis might have looked in, he had a few words for him saying, that he's all for bat flips. But peeking in, that's just not good for the game. It's disrespectful to the game. And I agree with that. That the peek in to me is something that I know it's an advantage. It's like stealing signs from second, but it's taboo. It's taboo in the game. I think we could all agree that it is taboo. Even if he didn't get the pitch, he did get a location with the movement, unless, he could have switched up and he would have been fooled, but
So here's the thing, though. You as a hitter, there are times, especially when you're digging in, you may look down and you're not even looking for a sign, but as the catcher, unbeknownst to him, is setting up his location already, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess where this pitch is going to be. And it's not necessarily deliberate. And even if it was deliberate, we still have pitchers using, unknown quote-unquote banned substances to get better grip on the ball. There's cheating all around baseball. It will never stop. At this point, it is what it is. That's just my take.
I don't think that's on the catcher or Trevor Bauer. I saw a comment saying hide your signs better. I mean,
no.
Looking. What is he supposed to turn around and reflect it off the front row?
But what I'm saying is, Tatis obviously was not set, right? If he's looking down,
did you watch it?
No. So tell me how.
Yeah. If you watch it, Tatis is set and he goes down. It's not natural what he does because we all have been at the plate. You dig and you look at the plate. Tatis doesn't. His bat's on his shoulder pretty much. He's not touching the plate to square himself up. He just looks down, and you can tell it looks weird by that because no one would do that because Bauer pretty much is set waiting for his sign. No hitter is gonna do this before a pitch comes. You're looking at the pitcher, so it was unnatural, and I don't agree with the notion that. Cheating happens, so let's just let cheating happen, right? Then there will be why have rules at that point?
I mean, the cheating is a legit fabric in the game. It's a legit part of the game.
What I'm saying is, you're getting advantages but that doesn't mean that the game cannot have set up rules that curtails that, right? I don't think that Tatis doing that because what you're saying with that logic, every hitter should go up there and try to steal signs. That isn't good for the game to me. It just isn't. Right.
If Trevor Bauer throws a beanball at him at his ribs, and Tatis gets mad, what's the conversation we're talking about now? Are we saying Bauer's out of line, or was he right for if you see Tatis is looking at the sign?
I mean, according to Greg, I think he said he would agree that Bauer shouldn't throw at him, right? Because Bauer might have had a banned substance before that, so it's like, well, you got to cheat, now I got to cheat.
And shout out to our umpire Pat Green in the comments. If you see. If that's what you think is happening, you step off, catcher shakes up the signs, you go with a different sequence.
It was too quick for that to happen in that moment.
The catcher puts a middle The catcher puts a middle finger sign down and you throw at his wrist.
Yeah, I mean, you might throw a high and in, you might throw let him know, get off the plate or something like that. But I think with that particular AB,
chin music.
It's chin music. But with that particular AB, you can't do that. You can't it wouldn't work. Right? He paid for it with a home run.
Yeah. Yeah,
I just think I just think that there's so many different little nuances in baseball that we can call quote unquote cheating, and it gets a bypass us trying to figure out the other third base coach's signs. That's a form of cheating, but it's accepted. You know what I mean? So where do we draw the line? Because the name of the game is to get an advantage on your opponent. By the basic metric of cheating, all of that is cheating.
Yeah, but if the third base coach has the signs, that's out in the open. But to make an obvious to go out of your way to look down and back at this, you're looking at nothing.
Agreed. You can't say nuance and then not speak to the difference between what you just used as a comparison. Signs that are out in the open like that, and if someone deciphers them, yes, you have to decipher it, right? There was no one on. That was a solo home run. The sequence that they go through is usually just one sign. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But again, he didn't get the sign. He got the location. And that's
whereas
all
if a runner's on base, you see 3, 4 signs.
Yes. You know what I mean? So I don't think
I'm with you 100%.
I don't agree with the substances, but that's something that could be regulated by the MLB. I don't agree also with hitters looking in, especially the way he did it, looking in before a pitch to try and get a location or a pitch. So that's where I stand on that. Greg clearly is real blasé about everyone getting an advantage in baseball. So
they do.
That's a fine sense. Gary says the same thing as us, Steph. He says peeking at signs is a bad look. That's not technical or anything. It's just cheating. I'm with you on that. There's really no strategy.
So is stealing signs from second base. That's not tactical. It's cheating.
But at least there's some strategy involved.
Yeah, but not even strategy. But teams will then switch up their signs. There is a whole sequence you go through. You have more than one if someone's at second base, so that you prevent them from that. So baseball already has something in place to prevent that. It's not like they're just if they get it, they get it. No, you change up your sequences, especially if someone if they start to read in and understand. Okay, well, 2 is the slider and 3 is the fastball. Then you switch up once you realize that it's happening. So I just don't agree with it. I'm not saying that we should allow it. It shouldn't be condoned. That should be called out for what it is.
Look at you, Greg, responding to Chuck in the comments section. It's very sneaky. But I think you're trying to be super consistent about it before we go to break. And I feel like there's levels to it. not like banging a trash can, getting electrical pulses is very different than if you see runners on second base, you see they're going to throw a fastball and you kind of touch your helmet or something. Like, there's a difference. I mean, you can get a 4-year-old to look back at the catcher and peek. Like, hide the signs better. What do we want the catcher to do? Slam his shin guards together? Now the pitcher can't see the sun. You don't do it. It's just lame. But he hit a shot, so it is what it is.
As Declan said, we're going to break. Stay locked in with us. This is Smoke and Mirrors presented by the Sports Hit List on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We'll be right back.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is Smoke and Mirrors on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Welcome back. This is Smoke and Mirrors, presented by the Sports List on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I'm your host, Stephen Polius, alongside my fellow hosts, Declan Krogman and Greg Polius. We were talking baseball before the break, talking about the Padres and the Dodgers, and one Padres player, he's been a part of this podcast, a part of this show for a few weeks now, and that's Fernando Tatis Jr. Declan had his take on him, and so far he has been correct. Tatis has struggled out the gate. However, this series is really where he's broken out. Tatis on the series batted .444, 9 runs scored, 6 RBIs, 5 home runs. All right, he did have 5 strikeouts. Only had 1 multi-strikeout game, though, during the series. And he's looking hot. He's looking like the player that we expected him to be, which is exciting for the Padres because when he goes, they go. And honestly, it's again, for baseball, right? You have Soto's out right now on the IL, and I believe that Acuna's on the IL as well, or is he just...
No, he's
day-to-day. He's day-to-day. He's back. Okay.
He was day-to-day. He's been back a couple games now.
Got you. So it's just good to see, marquee players like Tatis, because in that game last night, he took 2 bags, and that double steal was pivotal in them going ahead.
Huge.
So
game, that team, they need him, and then the game needs him, especially that series.
Definitely. So it's good. It's good to see him getting going and doing what he does best. Excited to see this continue. I will say that he was close to the Mendoza line. And for those that don't know, the Mendoza line is a reference to a former shortstop, Mario Mendoza, who batted around 215. But it's throughout baseball, when you bat at 200, that's the line. That's the barometer for bad. So he was close to the Mendoza line.
He was under for a little while.
Yeah, he was under for a bit, but going
188.
Going into this series, he was a little bit above it, and currently at 246. So shouts out to Tatis Jr. Hopefully he continues going on this path. What I do want to move on to is someone near and dear to my heart. Whenever this man pitches, I get butterflies. I'm not gonna lie. Watching his performances, it's special. Even if you're not at the stadium, I can only imagine being at the stadium to watch. I'll say his name now, Jacob Degrom. All of you probably knew who I was talking about those feelings.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Taijuan Walker. My bad.
But Jacob Degrom has been dominant, and he's looking like otherworldly, really. So we touched base on him before a few episodes back. Back then, he had at least 14 Ks in back-to-back performances. He just had a complete game, 2-hitter. With 15 Ks, which is a career mark for him.
Best game of his career, probably.
Yes, definitely best game of his career. And watching that performance was truly masterful. I was going to put it out there for you guys, and Deck, I'll start with you. Are we witnessing greatness? Is this when you look back at the 30 for 30s of all these players that had amazing careers, are we currently going through that with DeGrom right now?
Absolutely. He's having a Pedro-like run. When he was with Boston. And listen, I'm a Yankees fan. Which side is it? Yeah, the inverted camera. I had to rock a Mets jacket today just
blasphemous. For
wow. Not really. You know what?
Wow.
Whatever.
Never thought I'd see the day. Got to screenshot this.
You should, man. It's not a Memphis Grizzlies pullover, but no, he is just phenomenal. Anyone who says he's not even close to being the best pitcher of the game, or anyone's close to him, it's insane. He's way better than Cole, a lot better than Shane Bieber, Giolito, Nola, Scherzer, Buehler, Bauer. He is just different. Marcus Stroman said it best We're witnessing greatness. This is something that we have not seen in a long time, and we might not see for a while. I remember his debut. I was in 6th grade. Wanted to go to that game. Watched it. It was Yankees Mets. I want to say it was a 1-0 game. The Yankees won, which is a nice barometer to how his career in New York was going to go. And he went like 7 innings, 6 Ks, 4 hits on like a run on like a cheap.
That was his first start because he came in as a reliever. I'm pretty sure
his debut was he came up as a reliever, but yeah. So
I thought he's maybe I'm remembering.
No, his debut was against the Yankees because he was originally called up because they thought he was going to relieve, but Rafael Montero, who's now a reliever on the Mariners, got injured. So then they had to put Degrom in, and Degrom wanted to make sure that he could start, and he was just electric. Struck out Jeter, Teixeira, all these guys. He was making him look foolish, and he also went up against Chase Whitley, who was making his debut in the major league. So we had 2 guys going against each other for both teams. Great time to be alive. But now witnessing Jacob Degrom, for baseball's sake, it might be a better time right now.
It's funny because Rafael Montero was supposed to be the guy when they both came up.
He was a prospect during Degrom.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they drafted Degrom in the 9th round as a former shortstop convert, and I feel like now everybody's just mentioning that, like, oh, and even now that he gets better, this guy used to be a shortstop. It's like, what it reminds me of how much he's being mentioned? It reminds me every time Todd Frazier would get up to the plate for the Yankees or the Mets. If I got to hear one more person say he's from Tom's River and then he played Little League in the Jersey Shore, I'm going to explode. And we get it, all right? It happened. You mentioned it the last 75 times he stepped to the plate.
Well, Degrom being a shortstop in college is way more relevant than Todd Frazier playing in
because of the
Tom's River. Yeah.
Yes. I was making a joking comparison. But yeah, it's huge. I mean, the guy's increasing velocity in his 30s. He was touching 90 when he was at Stetson, which is a Division I program. It really is. It's remarkable. And now Rafael Montero, Chuck mentioned he's closing for Steph's Mariners. No shade on him.
No, former closer.
They're going to get rid of him?
Closing now. No. Graven's had it for the last few weeks, actually, the week or 2.
Yeah. He's a late reliever, this Montero. He closed for the Rangers last year in the shortened season.
He was inconsistent for the Mariners. That's why they put in Graveman, who has
absolutely
run yet.
Yeah, Pat Green in the comments, our favorite umpire. Definitely better than Angel Hernandez. If Pat Green was blindfolded and turned around, he'd be better than Angel Hernandez. He's a Yankee fan. He says, though I do like the Mets. Cole is close, he says, and some are close nice. I don't know what he means by that, but so are a bunch of starters. None are better than Jacob. Absolutely. And Pat Green's got the hair now. He's got the old Jacob Degrom.
He has the flow.
A long hair look. Yeah, he's got the flow. Absolutely.
He's donating it like he always does. He grows his hair to donate it. The man's a saint.
What a man. And now, just last before we I'm just going to read a quick little thing in the comment section, then I want to hear Greg, go on his tangent here. The Mariners did start Chris Flexen.
Wait. You just said I'm going to go on a tangent, and we're talking about Jacob Degrom, and you mentioned Chris Flexen. Nah, stop it. You're done.
I mean, like a happy tangent. No, we're talking about former Mets prospects.
I don't want to hear that.
You want to talk about Philip Evans? How does that not make sense? We're going on we're going down memory lane for the Mets.
We're doing a tangent to a tangent. So how about we talk about Chris Flexen real quick? Because that's what you were going to say, right?
We don't really have to. We could. Yeah, he just started for the Mariners. He's been good thus far.
Decent.
But decent. I was just interactive in the comment section. But I would like to hear what Greg has to say about Jacob Degrom, a man whose ERA he's similar to in the men's league. By the way, that's a compliment. I'm not going to take any shit.
I thank you. I haven't thrown an inning yet, but I'm looking forward to it this weekend. As far as Degrom goes, I was in my house going nuts watching that game, jumping up and down and screaming like a kid in a candy store. But I made a mention of what we're witnessing is Bob Gibson-esque. I forgot, somebody said it was a hot take, and I'm okay with that because even though Bob Gibson, quote, they say 1968 is probably the best season ever. He had a 1.12 ERA, and he led the league in Ks with 268. I think it's very possible if DeGrom keeps up this pace, he will be more dominant than that. And we will be talking about one of the greatest seasons ever from a starting pitcher.
Yeah, and that's a guy who had a 170 ERA already.
As far as DeGrom goes, the ERA, he has a 0.33 ERA right now with a 0.55 whip, which is ridiculous to think that.
I wonder if he's doing it to shout out Matt Harvey with the 3-3.
For those that don't know, WHIP is walks per hits per innings pitch, right? And so base runners that he's allowed on, one would mean that he's allowing one base runner, per inning. And it's half of that. He's allowing half of a base runner. It's absurd to think that this is capable. In 4 starts has it been? Not 5 yet, right? It's 4?
I think he has 4 starts.
Yeah.
50 Ks in 4 starts.
Yeah, 4 starts. Just impressive, dominating the league. So we could belabor the point with Jacob Degrom because he is just a force. And I also just love, it's the composure for me, because whether he has runners on or off, it's the same guy, right? We've seen pitchers with runners on, pitch a little bit differently, feel the pressure of the moment maybe, especially in New York. I don't care that the Mets have been bad for as long as they have. Degrom, whether you're Degrom or, Chris Flexen when he was here to reference Declan's favorite player. But
I couldn't even tell you his jersey number.
But the environment, regardless if you're good or not, is still very tough to deal with. So you need to perform. And Degrom goes out there, regardless of the situation, and still pitches his game, inning in, inning out. And that, to me, is what sets him apart from other pitchers. And obviously his stuff, increasing your velocity every year is just unheard of, especially after 30.
He has the highest average fastball of any pitcher in the league.
That's including relievers, which you expect relievers to have the highest because they're barely in there. For starters to go 7 innings, 6 innings, and still keep up your velocity is very difficult. He still pumps 99 when in that complete game. He was pumping 99 in the 9th inning.
Yeah, and I thought it was so cool how efficient he was too. Like he was going for the strikeouts. He had 15 or 14 Ks after 7 innings. Goes out to I don't think he got a strikeout in the last 2 innings.
He didn't.
Yeah, he did.
Pitches, just got weak
contact.
contact. I think.
Yeah.
I think Lindor made like 4 or 5 ground ball plays. But I think it's such an interesting conversation, and we could harp on it all day. Kind of the difference, not to spotlight Bauer, but the difference between Degrom and Bauer in terms of their intensity and the perception and the persona they put out on the field. Bauer's, big. And I'm not saying this is the wrong way to do it. I'm saying they have very different ways to do it. Bauer's big personality, a lot of emotions, celebrations, talking, tweets after every game, tweets every inning. Nothing wrong with that at all. But very different from Degrom, who's kind of more of a silent killer, not on social media. Not that that's what has to do anything with his on-field play. Silent, he's got that quiet intensity. He's got the depth there.
Yeah. I think the difference is Degrom has the best stuff in the game at this very moment. So no pitcher is really going to compare to him. Just Josh Harrison was hitting almost 400, and he came into that game, and Degrom made him look silly for 4 ABs. He made major league hitters look like they didn't belong on the same field. And the last time I probably saw that was maybe Pedro and Randy Johnson.
Yeah, I think it's so comparable to Pedro
Great
in the late 90s, early 2000s with the Sox, man. I really feel like that's like the most closest thing we've seen.
So, again, my boy Degrom, love him. A former, I want to say former ace. It seems a little rude to call him that, but we did have a stand-up performance. Yeah, I mean, it's. I feel bad saying it, because it's Madison Bumgarner. But Madison Bumgarner this weekend, yesterday actually in the doubleheader, he pitched a 7-inning complete game, 7 innings, 7 Ks. Only a base runner he allowed was on an error from Nick Ahmed from short, but he pitched a complete game, and it was impressive. Him actually and Zach Gallen combined for a 14-inning complete game shutout. Zach Gallen allowed.
Gallen was great too. He had 2 hits. I don't even know if he gave up a run, but we can tell you how many hits Mad Bum gave up by using the Tatis, giving the 1 eye little 0 there.
But the interesting thing though about that doubleheader is the MLB has confirmed that in a doubleheader, any 7-inning game, neither a team nor individual pitcher will be credited with an official no-hitter in a scheduled 7-inning game or doubleheader, unless that game goes into extra innings. So Madison Bumgarner is not going to get a no-hitter under his belt because of that complete game no-hitter, which is very odd given that the MLB has made this rule now to play doubleheaders this way, and then take away statistics from players that accomplish something that is still great. Real quick, before we go to break, what are your thoughts, Greg? Let me know.
I'll be quick. Just like Lance, our cousin Lance and Manny said in the chat earlier, is BS. Because if you're going to count the stats, the hidden stats from a 7-inning game, why are you not counting the no-hitter? these were major league rules to change it to 7-inning games. So you might as well treat it like a real game.
Yeah, I'm with Greg on this one. I think it's stupid. It's unfortunate, though. There's nothing Madison Bumgarner could have did about it because it's a 7-inning game, and you don't know how electric it was. Also, on the other hand, everyone knows the hardest, outs in a no-hitter are the final 6. So it's different when the final 6 in the 5th inning versus when it's in the 8th or 9th, and we've seen, more guys lose it in that part.
I disagree.
Make it.
Whether a game is 7 or 9, the hardest outs are always the last 3.
I agree that the hardest outs are the last 3, but it's very different when you have 2 more innings to continue the greatness, right? I think that it's not about discrediting them. More so, it's the asterisk, right? Like giving them the credit, maybe notifying or putting some kind of disclaimer that it is 7 innings. You shouldn't take that away from a pitcher. It's still very impressive, and that would be Madison Bumgarner's first no-hitter, if I'm not mistaken, in his career.
I agree. Put the asterisk, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. But on that note, we're going to head to break. Everyone, we're going to move on to a little UFC after this, so stay locked in. This is Smoke and Mirrors, presented by the Sports Hit List on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, and we'll be right back.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is Smoke and Mirrors on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Welcome back. This is Smoke and Mirrors, presented by the Sports Hit List on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I'm your host, Stephen Polius, alongside my fellow hosts, Declan Scotland and Greg Polius. And we also have a special guest on, Garrison Polius, younger Polius.
Hello.
How you doing, Garrett?
I'm well, man. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited about this. You guys' show's been great so far, so I'm excited to add to the segment.
Thank you. I'm happy to have you on because we're talking UFC, like I said before break, and this is the first time for Smoke and Mirrors. I know that I'm not the UFC guy, and Greg, Declan, maybe you know a thing or two, but Garrison is going to be our UFC guy today because from what I hear in these streets, this UFC, match 261 was a big deal. And from all I know, really, and Garrison, I'm going to let you take it away in a little bit, was Kamaru Usman and Jorge Masvidal.
He's having trouble with the names. He really doesn't.
Having trouble with the names. It's cool. We're going to get you there.
I told you, this ain't my field, but I'm ready to talk about it. I heard it was a great match, or rather it was a highly anticipated match. And give us a little bit more about that. I know there's some undercards as well. Just let us know about it. Give us some info.
So to start, man, 261 it lived up to everything that you expected it to. Before I even get to Masvidal, I do want to shout out Rose for she was the co-host. She was the co-main event. She ended up getting her title back in the strawweight division, so that was huge. Also, Chris Weidman had a nasty injury. He went and broke his leg, and it was nasty stuff. I do want to say, hopefully he gets back to it. Ironically, he had that Anderson Silva had that same injury against him back in 2013. He broke his leg fighting. It's ironic, but in regards to Masvidal and Usman, so this is actually round 2 of them. The first fight that they had back in 2020. Now, personally, I didn't believe Masvidal should have been in that ring in the first place. I didn't think they matched up well. Usman he's a very strong fighter at 170, and you saw it in the first match. He absolutely dominated him. I believe he had 5 takedowns. He controlled the match the whole game. He had him on his ground. It was just ground and pound, literally the whole match. So it was a unanimous decision, Usman in 5 rounds. Now you get to the second fight, and so Masvidal's camp, he went in there preparing to stop that ground attack. He knew that was his strength. Masvidal is a stand-up fighter. He has great hands. And he had I would say a rebirth in his career, and he was making some really big knockouts. Actually, he's one of the guys who used to be fighting with Kimbo Slice in the backyard. So Masvidal is R.I.P. He's a brawler, and he's a gamer, and he goes in there, he competes. So he went into his camp as trying to stop that ground game, trying to stop those takedowns. And Usman came and absolutely destroyed him. It really wasn't even funny because he stood up with him. And I didn't expect for him to get knocked out like that. I think that's honestly probably knockout of the year where it was flush clean. And then he caught him with a couple of hammer fits to end. Oh, yeah. Now, granted, Jake Paul's a whole different story.
Oh, my God. Pete Davidson, everyone knows Pete Davidson was the MVP of that fight. But I first want to say, Gary, I'm so happy that you're here. Listen, I'll get to the comment section in a sec. I see something funny. But, it's such an honor to be in the presence of the best catcher in New York named Gary.
Whoa!
I'm happy to see you.
Yeah, there's a guy up in the Bronx named Gary. I'm not too fond of him either.
Yeah. I think Greg might be muted. I'm not even sure. But
I'm good.
Oh, I didn't hear the hyena laugh. I saw the nice little smile. When you see Greg's teeth, you know he's something funny. Speaking of funny, we got Apolius disguised as Christian Dior in the comments section. I don't know how you do it, Deck. Being one myself, being surrounded by one Polius is painful enough. How do you manage with 3? Sorry for you and apologize to you. We got to get Lance in here to make it 4. I'm actually really happy being, I don't know, it's just an exciting show.
So you look at that, Ted, it backfired on you.
It did backfire on Ted, and as it should. All right?
What did he think? I was going to go against 3 right now? It's a terrible idea.
But Gary, I do have a question for you. So again, not knowing much, like I said before, but Vidal, when I looked at some highlights, right, and just looking at the body type, I guess it doesn't matter as much to UFC, but he didn't look as in shape to me as Usman. I don't know if that matters maybe in the stamina department, but it seemed as though to me when the few kind of highlights I've seen for UFC, more of a match as far as just fitness and readiness.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say fitness or readiness because they all camp. Their camps are usually intense. I'm not going to take that away from any UFC fighter. They usually prepare going into those fights. Some people, you can't prepare for everything. You have to try to make a game plan and stick to it. So that's where Masvidal got caught up. But in terms of size, Usman's bigger. And it may not be weight wise because they got to the same weight, but he's a bigger, solid, stronger, fighter. Yeah. So
what did they have to weigh in it?
170. So
so he's a bigger 170.
Yeah. So they fought at the welterweight, and I'll say this: Usman is clear. He's pound for pound the best fighter in UFC right now. I'm a John Jones fan, diehard John Jones fan, and they have John Jones as number 1 pound for pound, and Usman's number 2. But John Jones hasn't fought since Dominic Reyes, and honestly, I didn't think he won that fight. I don't think he beat Dominic Reyes. I think Dominic actually won that first 3 rounds, and they gave it to John off of those championship rounds. And off of that, and based on just because he hasn't fought, I have Usman as number 1 pound for pound. The guy has been on an absolute tear. He went and took the belt from Tyron Woodley back in 2019, and then has just been dismantling the competition. And he's one of the 3-star African UFC fighters who has belts right now. So I'm so happy where UFC is right now. I'm happy for Usman. I'm excited to see. I don't know who he's going to fight next. There's always some speculation. You might have him fight Conor.
They're talking about going to get thrown in there.
But I will say this. I am no big Conor fan. The man sells. He will sell you tickets. But if we're being
wait. You jumping ahead of my question.
Talking. Let me hear it.
I was gonna ask you after the fight. Conor tweeted out that basically Usman kind of stole his swag, stole his moves. That's essentially what he was saying. Do you think this is Conor trying to tweet himself back into relevancy after some kind of not so great showings, or do you think there's a legitimate fight in the future?
There is no legitimate fight in the future. If it is, it's going to be selling tickets. This is what Conor does. See, before he really came to prominence, Conor sold tickets. He hasn't, or he's a showman. If anything, he is he will draw you in. He will talk trash, and he's a performer. The guy has a killer left hook, and he could really put you out on a dime. And he's fought well, but in the past couple fights, Conor hasn't been anything impressive. I think, and not only that, he's a featherweight and lightweight fighter. Welterweight's at 170. Conor, to get up there, he fought there 3 times. He fought against Donald Cerrone, which was his comeback fight, which was a total farce. I've never seen such of a waste of a fight.
Was that the fight where he went up to the guy's grandmother and he was like playing all nice guy?
Yeah. That was Dana White saying, we need to keep you relevant. We don't want to make you Ronda 2.0. We're going to give you a little slam dunk.
Ronda 2.0.
Donald Cerrone, he has some of the most, I think he has the most wins in UFC history, just in terms of longevity. He's been around forever. And then he fixed his face to say, I've never seen someone throw a shoulder at him like that. It was honestly embarrassing. However, he's only ever fought. So he fought Donald Cerrone and he fought Nate Diaz at 170. And Nate Diaz, I think he won both of those fights.
But those are some fun battles.
But Conor isn't comfortable at 170. And these are lower echelon people to fight at 170 at welterweight. You're going to get the champion? He doesn't even deserve that title fight. I need him to win at least 2-3 matches before he even gets a sniff at facing Usman at 170. He's just doing what he does. He's selling to this is what Dana has him for. He's his cash cow. He's going to go there, sell tickets. He's going to bring people in, get people interested. But I don't think that fight's actually happening. Conor's
we'll take it that you're not a big fan of Conor.
It doesn't seem that way. It doesn't seem like he's a big Conor guy. There's another guy that's, I don't want to say equally annoying because that just sounds mean, but maybe more so annoying. We got a former Disney star, Jake Paul, obviously. I just had to say it. I really did. It took a lot.
Appropriate.
Yeah, we got a former Disney star who grew a beard now. And his name is Jake Paul.
Big difference.
And do you see his name getting thrown into a potential matchup for Osman here?
I can see Jake getting some. I think he could get a fight. Like his fight with Ben Askren was an interesting one. Now Ben Askren is a Olympic wrestler, UFC submission artist. He actually got knocked out by Vidal, just to kind of bring it full circle. But he's not a boxer. He doesn't really have a stand-up game, and he came into that fight overweight. He
had a dad bod. He was built like a middle-aged substitute teacher coming into go right in.
That's spitting some heat there, right. Declan.
All right. That's not as good as Ronda 2.0 though. That was a fire bar. I'm gonna remember that.
You know what I think Ben Askren knew he was going to get paid. And that's the thing. UFC, you're going to see a lot of these guys in UFC try to get these big matches or celebrity matches because they don't pay as well. Like, you can be a champion. Like, what Conor got fighting Mayweather, he's never going to see that again in UFC. And I'm sure that's why he's going to push for those fights. And a lot, like Ben Askren got paid well. And if he took a loss, it's whatever. It's a gimmick.
He was walking out of the ring smiling with his wife. And you know what? Yeah. I do this thing. He's going to laugh his way to the bank.
Yeah, so that's
just how it is.
But I do believe that I don't think Jake Paul is awful. I think the guy has knockout power.
Yeah, he's not terrible.
He's not a terrible fighter. I do think that he's very selective about who he fights. There's a lot of hungry guys who would want to get into the ring with Jake Paul, and they'd probably eat him up. But he's got to be selective about it. But I'm interested to see what he does.
Hold on. Was it Jake or Logan who called out Daniel Cormier?
Oh,
I can't tell the difference between the two.
That was Jake.
I'm pretty sure that was Jake, and he lost his mind. Just for a second. Daniel Cormier, and now, again, I'm a John Jones fan, and they've had their beef throughout. Daniel Cormier is easily the second best light heavyweight fighter of all time, potentially one of the best heavyweight fighters of all time. The man is as versatile as he comes. He's undersized. He has hands for days. He's knocked out the ex-current, because he lost to Ngannou.
The former,
Stipe, the former. So he knocked out Stipe in their first bout, and I didn't expect him to do that because the man is smaller than him, and he weighed in, and Jake Paul has no business doing that. Daniel Cormier could come off his couch and probably catch him in 45 seconds.
It's talking about on the streets. He come off the couch, end up in the streets, and just catch Jake Paul sleeping.
No, Cormier ain't no joke. Even he'll come in with a dad bod too, and he'll give him the business.
I would really love to see it though. I would like to see that, and then I know is this Logan Paul Floyd Mayweather fight, is that ever going to happen? Because I feel like we got teased with the idea of a potential brutal slaying of
a cash
Logan
grab,
Paul.
man. A cash grab.
Man, Floyd is always he's gonna say things for buzz. Floyd is as brilliant as it comes with keeping his name relevant for stuff like that.
Marketing.
If they're saying it, yeah, exactly. He'll market it. Floyd's not fighting this dude unless they're paying him astronomical money. He's not fighting this dude. He took an exhibition last year in Japan, and he got paid millions. It wasn't even it was closed doors exhibition fight. He's going to do what he can do to make money, but he will continue to draw buzz. Logan's not getting the ring in with this guy. And if he does, he's going to get absolutely dismantled. That's one of the greatest defensive boxers of all time, period.
I think that's why a lot of people want to see it, though, is they want to see, and I think it's the UFC and everyone's done a good job of kind of marketing it, and especially the Pauls alike. Everybody wants to see these guys just get destroyed. And they're going to fight these light guys that really just aren't. Listen, Ben Askren was a hell of a wrestler, not a professional fighter like that at this point in his career. He was retired for a reason, and he came in out of shape. And they're going to get these little guys. Nate Robinson, we're bringing in the shortest basketball player in the last 15 years to go up against Jake Paul.
Well, that was a celebrity thing. I won't give
exactly. Yeah, Chuck Baldy let the Pauls fight each other. That'd be pretty good. That'd be funny. Oh, but yeah, it's just ridiculous at this point. I know we're getting short on time. We could probably spend a whole week on it, but I thought that was very funny. Jake was very upset that Pete Davidson called him out, and they didn't like. He said that, and I thought this was funny. He said that, why are you talking so much trash on my stream, on my stream? When people are here to watch me. And Logan's kind of like, dude, that's your stick. People are not there to watch you. They're there to watch you lose. They don't like you. Even his brother's like, all right, well, calm down. His dad wanted to fight him. And even Jake was like, he's like 6'4". Like, why don't you cool your heels there? The Pauls are ridiculous. But maybe they have a future in UFC or maybe not.
Well, they're entertainers, man.
What happens, though.
Yeah, they're entertainers. They're doing exactly what they grew up doing. They're entertaining us. Yep. They're bringing relevance. They're bringing cash revenue, and it's a win-win. If he gets knocked out, hey, I'll love it. I'll love to watch it.
I think a lot of people would love it, and I think that is definitely his shtick for sure.
Well, that is our show. I just want to thank Garrison really quickly. For those that don't know, I think it was like 2016, 2015 when you got into UFC. It still blows my mind when you speak the facts you do. It's amazing.
It's crazy. It was like 2013. It was like 2013.
All right, bro. I was 2 years old.
Found out.
Hey, he's doing good.
Found out in 2015, but it was there.
Can I mention one thing before we go? Just one thing quick. My mom is in the chat. Maybe Garrison and my mom would get along because they both like UFC. That's not true. My mom is just there because the entertainment. Just the entertainment with the Pauls. Didn't Cormier have a run-in with Jake Paul last weekend at the UFC match? That was yesterday. They had a little run-in at the words. Yeah, I guess you could call it a tiff.
That's definitely a tiff. Yeah. I would call it a tiff.
That is probably what it would be. But yeah, interesting little anecdote there. Have a
yes.
See you guys Friday.
It was great. Thanks again, Garrison, for coming
on.
Thank
you for having me, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Yes.
Pleasure.
It was great.
Hopefully, I'm back for UFC 262.
As long as they keep having UFC matches, you'll be on. Okay, we'll cover it.
Gary versus Jake Paul.
Yes, this is Smoke and Mirrors, presented by the Sports Idiots on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I'm your host, Stephen Polius, alongside my fellow hosts, Declan Krogman and Greg Polius, alongside our special guest, Garrison. We had a great time. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you again on Friday between 1 and 2. Take care and have a good week.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.